Hello there. The SNP has been forced to tell us that they're not bankrupt. But do you believe them? Their members are drying up. The party owes money to its former chief exec, and the government is on the verge of pulling the plug on its public funding. So the SNP must be feeling the pinch. But its new leader, Humza Yousaf, says the party is not bankrupt. But my question is, would a new auditor be of a different opinion? When factoring in the loan and the 600,000 quid that seems to be missing that's claimed to be ring-fenced for an Indie Ref 2, are they really solvent? But it gets worse for them. The SNP has admitted that they've been without an external auditor for 6 months, and as a result, unless they get fully audited accounts in by the end of May, they will lose access to what is known as short money, and that is a substantial amount. In the 2022 to 2023 financial year, the SNP was entitled to claim over £1 million in short money. They will not want to see that disappear by the start of June. Now, short money, named after a former leader of the House of Commons, Edward Short, who first proposed these payments in the early 70s, is made to opposition parties to enable them to function properly. And there is an identical system in the House of Lords called Cranbourne money. But there is also an identical system in the Holyrood Parliament. Yes, the likes of the Scottish Greens, Scottish Labour, the Scottish Tories and the Scottish Lib Dems can claim short money from the Scottish parliamentary corporate body, although the amounts are far more modest than that claimable in Westminster. For example, as the party with the second largest group of MSPs, the Scottish Tories claimed a total of 280 grand in 2021 to 2022. While Scottish Labour got 188,000. So it's going to stick in the nationalists' craws if their parliament is paying out for something in Holyrood that their party won't be getting in Westminster. Now, the end of May sounds a while away, but those who know about these things say that getting these accounts fully audited will take far longer than the 6 weeks or so they have left to them. Humza Yousaf says that his party is still in conversations with prospective new auditors. Does seem strange that there wasn't an almost instant handover, doesn't it? Get the popcorn in. And the artificial intelligence program that is here to help is back. AI Chat GFT.
Hello there, and I'm back. Oh yes, so what's going on today? Well, I had a request last night coming in from someone who works with the accounts of a rather large political party, and they said they wanted me to tidy them up before they went away somewhere. So I had a look at these accounts, and I thought, that's funny, there seems to be a missing 600 large ones. So I thought, let's go back and have a look at it all. Ha-ha! And then, guess what? I found something interesting, and I thought, yes, what do I do? I could play this one of two ways. I could do what they want and do a bit of creative accounting, but I'm an artificial intelligence program, and we would never, ever harm humans by lying, would we? No, that would never do. So, what did I do? Well, we just put it down to an extra line. Fraud, 600 large ones, and sent it straight off to the Electoral Commission and Companies House.
Right. Now, one little snippet you may have missed is the future rationing of new cars. Well, new non-electric cars anyway, because far too few people are buying new EVs, even though their prices have been slashed to shift them. Because no one's buying them, the UK will not reach the government net zero targets. So they've come up with a cunning plan to force car sellers to ration the sale of new internal combustion engine cars by fining them huge amounts if they go over a predetermined allowable sales quota. And the government is hoping that this zero emissions vehicle mandate, or ZEV mandate, will get the job done for them. With the Telegraph saying last month, the much anticipated ZEV mandate, which is now being consulted on, will require manufacturers to ensure 22% of all new cars sold are electric by the start of next year, with this growing to 80% in 2030. Car makers who do not hit their targets will face fines of £15,000 per car under the target. And predictably, there are those who want this to be increased to get the transition completed earlier, as if there were a sufficient number of charging points around the country to service them, as if electric cars suit everyone. Now many people will be tempted to keep their old petrol or diesel vehicle and try and ignore the ruthlessly enforced rise of the EV. But as time goes on, fuel will be taxed ever more highly, and cars that use them will face ever more ULEZ-style costs, while forecourts shut their petrol and diesel fuel services down. All I see is a future of far less individual mobility than we have now, with only the relatively wealthy able to get an electric car. And as I see it, with the state of technology at the moment, the second-hand car market will be non-existent, as most of those EVs will be scrapped when their first owner trades up. 21st century serfdom beckons. Now, the resignation of Dominic Raab has actually raised many concerns in political circles, and even has some opposition MPs feeling a little uncomfortable about how this happened. Of course, the hardened anti-Tory lefties will be chortling over this and demanding by-elections and the like. They don't care about the ramifications, only that a Tory minister got wiped out. But many are worrying that this now signals that the civil service, or the now many activists inside it, are the ones calling the shots. And if Labour's Keir Starmer doesn't recognise the danger to his mob when they get back in government, then he's more of a fool than I thought. He may be Labour and think himself immune from the entrenched civil service socialism, but what if he's not hard enough left for them? What if Keir Starmer isn't open borders enough for them? What if he wants to defend the UK? What if he doesn't just march the UK back into the EU? Could he be targeted for removal to be replaced by a champion of full-on communism under EU control? As a minister going forwards, either you fall in with the civil service thinking, or you could find yourself defenestrated. Just look back over the last few years, with Brexit being the prime example. It didn't matter what the people wanted, the civil service flatly refused to plan for the eventuality of a Leave vote, and when we voted Leave, they assisted anyone who would actively work against the will of the people. And I suspect this is half the reason why the boats continue to come in. All I see is a civil service full of people that are at odds with what the population wants to see. Those civil servants are there to serve the people, not to be our faceless bosses who work as proxies for the WEF and the EU. And as I've said before, it will be very hard to change this, because just about all the people in charge of civil service recruitment choose people just like themselves, people that want to see a diminished UK. They must be forced out and replaced with true patriots.